festivity. There are flowers there all around. Devotees are looking happy. So we are all gearing towards the appearance of moon, the Gaura Chandra, Mayapur Chandra. And it is said that it's very auspicious when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was getting born in Navadip. Then along with his appearance, it was an eclipse and people were in Ganges and they were chanting Hari, 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 Hari. So Lord also advented with the holy name, advent of holy name. So that's very important. To start and get invocation blessings from Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we'll start with Shri Sachi Sutanamashtakam. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Dadati Swapadantikam. So the lyrics are there. It's a very beautiful prayer. And we'll go forward from there. Nava Gauravaram Nava Pushpasaram Nava Gauravaram Nava Pushpasaram Nava Bhavadharam Nava Lasya Param Nava Hasya Karam Nava Hemavaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Nava Prema Yutam Nava Nita Shucham Nava Veshakritam Nava Prema Rasam Nava Vilasa Shubha Prema Mayam Navda Vila Shubha Prema Mayam Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Hari Bhakti Param Hari Namadharam Karajapya Karam Hari Nama Param Nayane Satatam Pranaya Shudharam Nayane Satatam Pranaya Shudharam Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Satatam Janata Bhavata Paharam Paramartha Parayana Lokagatim Navalehakaram Jagatapaharam Navalehakaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Nija Bhakti Karam Priya Charutaram Nija Bhakti Taram Natanartana Nagar Rajakulam पुलकामि मनासलक्ष्यकराम् प्रणमामि सचेसुतगौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुतगौरवरं करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं करतालवलं मृदुवाद्यसुमीनिकमाधुरम् निज भक्ति गुणावृत नाट्यकरं निज भक्ति गुणावृत नाट्यकरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं पुननन्दसुतं युगधर्मयुतं पुननन्दसुतं धरणी सुचित्रं भवभावोचितं तनुधायन चेतं निजवासयुतं तनुधायन चेतं निजवास तनुध्यान चेतं निजवासयुतं तनुध्यान चेतं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वशनं अरुणं नयनं चरणं वदने स्खलितं स्वनामधरं वदने स्खलितं कुरुते सुरसं जगता जीवनाम् प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचेसुत गौरवरं हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Can we have the translation, Prabhu? We can take the microphone. I can say the first one and then we can go around and read one translation at a time. His complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever-fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flower. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
He is endowed with ever-fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in even new fashions. He relishes even new mellow of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold process of devotions. Yes. He is pre-mated with most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Thank you, Prabhu.
He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names of the fingers of his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Just relish the lyrics, okay?
He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Thank you.
He motivates pure devotion unto himself. He is most attractive to his beloved Sarvatis. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of paramours. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaurav, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Thank you.
He plays kartals at his throat, emits sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant tones of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Thank you so much, Mata.
He is accompanied by the Sankirtan movement, which is a religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaja come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Thank you.
His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own names, his voice falters. He awakens a sweet flavor to life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi.
Awesome. His voice falters when he says his own name. So we know Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu is nothing but different than Krishna and Radha, who has come in the form of devotee to teach us how to practice devotional life. And it's not far away, like 500 years back, Lord Gaurachandra appeared in India, Navadip, Gauramandal. And he personally showed us the example of how one can approach Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarv dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Correct? And there are ways to do things. And then Gauranga Mahaprabhu came to establish how we can actually do the things. Prabhu, can we also put Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mori? We'll just do 5-10 minutes on that. Awesome. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mori. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mori. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Toma bina ke dayalu jagat samsare. Toma bina patita pavana hetu tava avatar. Patita pavana hetu tava avatar. Mosama patita Prabhu na paibe aar. Mosama Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Ha Prabhu Nityananda Kripavalokana Koro Ami Bolo Dukhi Kripavalokana Daya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Daya Karo Sitapati Tava Kripa Bale Pai Caitanya Nitai Tava Kripa Bale Pai Ha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghuna Ha Swarup Sanatana Bhatta Yuga Shri Jivaha Prabhu Lokana Bhatta Yuga Daya Karo Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Daya Karo Shri Acharya Ramachandra Sangha Mange Narottam Das Ramachandra Sangha Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mari Shri Krishna Toma bina ke dayalu jagat samsar Toma bina Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mare Shri Krishna The very beautiful prayers to Panchatattva, to Shada Goswami by Narottam Das Thakur. They invoke special feelings as we get ready for Shri Gaur Purnima. Is there a way we can read the translation, Prabhuji? Yeah, wonderful. My dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls. But I assure you that you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. True for me.
My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy.
My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy.
My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me.
Jai.
O O Sarvapur Damodara, Personal Secretary of Lord Chaitanya, O six Goswamis, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhakta Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhakta Goswami, Sri and Sri Jiva Goswami, O Lokanatha Goswami, my beloved spiritual master, I pray for your mercy also.
Srinivasa Acharya, successor to the six Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottam Das always desires the company of Ramachandra Chakravarti.
Jai. So today we'll continue on the reading of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. So we have something called MSF, which is Monthly Sankirtan Festival. And this MSF is named as MSF of Nectarian Rain. And you can see there are certain goals which are set as part of that. Few are distributing minimum of 25 Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. These are like golden books, 9-volume books. If you want to get a copy, please talk with us. We have plenty of them. Other goal is to collect over $6,000 of Lakshmi. I think so you can help on that. Third goal was to read parts of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, which we are doing. We have been reading, devotees have been reading almost every day. So we'll continue on that. Also, one of the goal was to start reaching out to Spanish population and then do book distribution to them. And learn some Spanish words. So I was learning as I was coming, and I just wanted to share my lack of memory. It starts with "Están usted feliz," and what it means is, "Are you happy?" So we go out and then we talk, "Are you happy?" And people say sometimes yes, and then we ask, "Why are you so happy?" And most of the time people say, no, I have stress, I have this problem, because this place is miserable, correct? So, and then devotees bring forward Bhagavad Gita, Perfection of Yoga, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the conversation starts. And that's pretty much where we start engaging. So we are proud of all the literary work Srila Prabhupada has left as legacy for us, to take it out in form of kirtan to the masses outside. So this center specializes in North America for that kind of activities, where devotees go door to door, shop to shop, and they constantly innovate of how to create new avenues of outreach. So that was one of the things, like if we are looking, "Están usted feliz." Okay? And the other part is also there is, I think, some Sanskrit course which is getting planned. So we will know the result tomorrow on all these goals. I think pretty much we are doing good, but whatever support you can give, it will be more better. So we have read, we have started reading on Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. We are in the Adi Leela, volume 1, chapter 7, and we read till text 121. So today we'll start from 122. And you can follow on the projector as I am reading from here. And this book was written in Bengali, so wherever I will try to read the Bengali, then we'll go into translation, then we'll go into the purport, okay, relevant purports. And if you have questions in between, please stop and we can have a discussion. The intent is predominantly today is reading, okay. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Let's start. Parinamavade Ishvara Hayena Vikari Etakahi Vivarta Vada Sthapana Yekari. According to Shankaracharya, by accepting the theory of the transformation of the energy of the Lord, one creates an illusion by indirectly accepting that the absolute truth is transformed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Adi Leela 7.122. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that if one does not clearly understand the meaning of Parinam Vada or transformation of energy, One is sure to misunderstood. Let it come up first. Adi Leela Prabhu, 7.122. Awesome. Yes, perfect. We are in the purport now. Perfect. This will help you also to read as we are doing. We are in the, I can start. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that if one does not clearly understand the meaning of Parinam Vada or transformation of energy, one is sure to misunderstand the truth regarding the material cosmic manifestation and the living entities. In the Chandrogya Upanishad 6.8.4, it is said, Sanmula Somyema Prajasad Ayantanaha Sapratishthitaha. The material world and the living entities are separate beings and they are equal, eternally true, not false. Shankaracharya, however, unnecessarily fearing that by Parinam Vada, transformation of energy, Brahman would be transformed, Vikari, has imagined both the material world and the living entities to be false and to have no individuality. By word jugglery, he has tried to prove that the individual identities of the living entities and the material world are illusory. And he has cited the analogies of mistaking a rope for a snake or an oyster shell for gold. Thus he has most abominably cheated people in general. And as we have built it over just for catch up, like the comparison of Shankaracharya. So these are all great purports Srila Prabhupada has given how to preach to Mayavadis, difference in philosophies and all. The analogy of misunderstanding a rope to be snake is mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad, but it is meant to explain the error of identifying the body with the soul. Since the soul is actually a spiritual particle, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mameva Vamsho Jiva Loke, it is due to illusion, Vivartavada, that a human being, like an animal, identifies the body with the self. This is proper example of Vivarta or illusion. The verse Atat Vato Anyatha Buddhir Vivarta iti Udharata describes such an illusion. To not know of actual facts and thus to mistake one thing for another, as for example to accept the body as oneself, is called Vivartavada. Every conditioned living entity who considers the body to be the soul is deluded by this Vivartavada. One can be attacked by this Vivartavada philosophy when he forgets the inconceivable power of the omnipotent personality of Godhead. How the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as he is, never changing, is explained in the Ishopanishad. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. God is complete. Even if a complete manifestation is taken away from him, he continues to be complete. The material creation is manifested by the energy of the Lord, but he is still the same person. His form, entourage, qualities, and so on never deteriorate. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Paramatma Sandarbha comments regarding the Vivartavad as follows. Under the spell of Vivartavad, one imagines the separate entities, namely the cosmic manifestation and the living entities, to be one with Brahman. This is due to complete ignorance regarding the actual fact. The absolute truth of Para Brahman is always one and always the same. He is completely free from all other conceptions of existence. He is completely free from false ego. He is the full spiritual identity. It is absolutely impossible for him to be subjected to ignorance and fall under the spell of a misconception, Vivartavada. The absolute truth is beyond our conception. One must admit that he has unblemished qualities that he does not share with every living entity. He is never tainted in the slightest degree by the flaws of ordinary living beings. Everyone must therefore understand the absolute truth to possess inconceivable potencies. Text 1, 2, 3. Vastuta parinama vada se pramana dehe atma buddhi e vivarte rasthana. Transformation of energy is a proven fact. It is the false bodily conception of the self that is an illusion. Purport. The Jiva or living entity is a spiritual spark who is part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unfortunately, he thinks the body to be the self, and that misunderstanding is called vivarta or acceptance of untruth to be truth. The body is not the self, but animals and foolish people think that it is vivarta, illusion does not. However, denote a change in the identity of the spirit soul. It is the misconception that the body is a self. That is an illusion. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not change when his external energy, consisting of the 8 gross and subtle material elements listed in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhumir, Apo, Nalo, Vayur, etc., acts and reacts in different phases. Text 124. Avichintya Shakti Yukta Shri Bhagwan Ichhaya Jagat Rupe Paya Parinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is opulent in all respect. Therefore, by his inconceivable energies, he has transformed the material cosmic manifestation. Text 125. Using the example of touchstone, which by its energy turns iron to gold and yet remains the same, we can understand that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead transforms his innumerable energies, he remains unchanged. 126. Nana Ratna Rashi Haya Chintamani Hoite Tathapi Amani Rahe Swarupe Avikrite. Although a touchstone produces many varieties of valuable jewels, it nonetheless remains the same. It does not change its original form. Prakatra Vastute Yadi Achintya Shakti Haya Ishwarera Achintya Shakti Ithe Ki Vishmaya. If there is such inconceivable potency in material objects, why should we not believe in the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? These are all points which you can use while you are, preaching. If there is any, discussion where you are engaged in. And there's a lot of good points which we have already covered. The argument of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu described in this verse can be very easily understood even by a common man if he simply thinks of the activities of the sun, which has been giving off unlimited amounts of heat and light since time immemorial and yet has not even slightly decreased in power. Modern science believes that it is by sunshine that the entire cosmic manifestation is maintained. And actually one can see how the actions and reactions of sunshine maintain order throughout the universe. The growth of vegetables and even the rotation of the planets take place due to the heat and light of the sun. Sometimes, therefore, modern scientists consider the sun to be the original cause of creation, not knowing that the sun is only a medium, for it is also created by the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aside from the sun and the touchstone, there are many other material things that transform their energy in different ways and yet remain as they are. It is not necessarily, therefore, for the original cause, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to change due to the changes or transformation of his different energies. The falsity of Sripad Shankaracharya's explanation of Vivartavada and Parinamvada has been detected by the Vaishnava Acharyas, especially Jiva Goswami, whose opinion is that actually Shankara did not understand the Vedanta Sutra. It's a very strong comment. In Shankara explanation of one sutra, Anandayo Mayo Abhyasat, he has interpreted the effects Mayat with such word jugglery that this very explanation proves that he had little knowledge about the Vedanta Sutra, but simply wanted to support his impersonalism through the aphorisms of the Vedanta philosophy. Actually, however, he failed to do so because he could not put forward strong arguments in this connection. Srila Jiva Goswami cites the phrase Brahma Pucham Pratishthatha Tatretriya Upanishad 2.5, which gives Vedic evidence that Brahman is the origin of everything. In explaining this verse, Sripad Shankaracharya interpreted various Sanskrit words in such a way that he implied, according to Jiva Goswami, that Vyasadeva had very little knowledge of higher logic. Such unscrupulous deviation from the real meaning of the Vedanta Sutra has created a class of men who by word jugglery try to derive various indirect meanings from the Vedic literature, especially the Bhagavad Gita. One of them has been explained that the word Kurukshetra refers to the body. Such interpretation imply, however, that neither Lord Krishna nor Vyasadeva had a proper sense of word usage or etymological adjustment. They lead one to assume that since Lord Krishna could not personally sense the meaning of what he was speaking, and Vyasadeva did not know the meaning of what he was writing, Lord Krishna left his book to be explained later by the Mayavadis. Such interpretations merely prove, however, that the proponents have very little philosophical sense. Instead of wasting one's time falsely deriving such indirect meanings from the Vedanta Sutra and other Vedic literatures, one should accept the words of these books as they are. That's why the name of Bhagavad Gita is what? Bhagavad Gita as it is, correct? In presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, therefore, we have not changed the meaning of the original words. Similarly, if one studies the Vedanta Sutra as it is, without whimsical and capricious adulteration, one can understand the Vedanta Sutra very easily. Srila Vyasadeva therefore explains the Vedanta Sutra beginning from the first sutra, Janmadi Asya Yata, in his Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Janmadi Asya Yato Anyavad Itaratasya Chatarsevu Abhijina Swarat. I meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, the transcendental reality, who is the primeval cause of all causes, from whom all manifested universes arise, in whom they dwell, and by whom they are destroyed. I meditate upon that eternally effulgent Lord, who is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation, and yet is fully independent. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knows very well how to do everything perfectly. He is Abhihijna, always fully conscious. The Lord therefore says in the Bhagavad Gita 7.26 that He knows everything past, present and future, but that no one but a devotee knows Him as He is. Therefore, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is at least partially understood by devotees of the Lord. But the Mayavadi philosophers who unnecessarily speculate to understand the absolute truth simply waste their time. As we have read in the past that Shankaracharya said that Vyasadeva had an improper understanding. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is refuting in his purports. Okay. And his goal was also to confuse people. So, it was order of the Lord. So he was doing what he was supposed to do. 128. Pranavase Mahavakya Vedera Nidana Ishvara Swarupa Pranava Sarva Vishwadhama. The Vedic sound vibration Omkar, the principal word in the Vedic literature, is the basis of all Vedic vibrations. Therefore, one should accept Omkar as a sound representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the reservoir of the cosmic manifestation. Purport: in the Bhagavad Gita 8.13, the glories of Omkara are described as follows. Om iti ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mam anushmaran ya prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. This verse indicates that Omkara or Pranava is a direct representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if at the time of death one simply remembers Omkar, he remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is therefore immediately transformed to the spiritual world. Omkara is the basic principle of all Vedic mantras, for it is a representation of Lord Krishna, understanding of whom is the ultimate goal of the Vedas, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand these simple facts explained in the Bhagavad Gita, and yet they are very proud of being Vedantists. Sometimes, therefore, we refer to the Vedanti philosophers as Vedantists, those who have no teeth. V means without, and Danti means possessing teeth. The statements of the Shankara philosophy, which are teeth of the Mayavadi philosopher, are always broken by the strong argument of Vaishnava philosophers such as the great Acharyas, especially Ramanujacharya. Sripa Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya break the teeth of the Mayavadi philosophers, who can therefore be called Vedantis, toothless. As mentioned above, the transcendental vibration Omkara is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 13. Om iti ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mam anushmaran ya prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. This is chapter 8 we are going. If one actually understands the Omkara is a sound representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether he chants Omkara or the Hare Krishna mantra, the result is certainly the same. The transcendental vibration of Omkara is further explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 17. Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyaham pavitram omkara riksama yajur evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Veda. Similarly, the transcendental sound Om is further explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 23. Om Tatsat iti nirdesho brahmanastri vidas smrta brahmanastena vedascha yasnascha vihita pura. From the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Throughout all the Vedic literature, the glories of Omkara are specifically mentioned. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his thesis Bhagavad Sandarbha, says that in the Vedic literature, Omkar is considered to be the sound vibration of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only this vibration of transcendental sound can deliver a conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. I repeat it again. Only this vibration of transcendental sound can deliver a conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. Sometimes Omkar is called the deliverer, Tara. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the Omkara vibration, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Therefore, Omkara has been described by the great commentator Sridhar Swami as Taranakura, the seed of deliverance from the material world. Since the Supreme Godhead is absolute, His holy name and His sound vibration Omkar are as good as He Himself. Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that the holy name or Omkara, the transcendental representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has all the potencies of the Personality of Godhead. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. All potencies are invested in the holy vibration of the holy name of the Lord. There is no doubt that the holy name of the Lord or Omkara is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In other words, anyone who chants Omkara and the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, immediately meets the Supreme Lord directly in His sound form. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is clearly said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, personally appears before the chanter who engages in chanting the Astaksara or 8-syllable mantra Om Namo Narayana. A similar statement in the Mandukaya Upanishad declares that whatever one sees in the spiritual world is all an expansion of the spiritual potency of Omkar. Such a strong statement. In the Godhead, Narayana personally appears before the chanter. If you say Om Namo Narayana, He personally appears before you. Are you ready? Yeah, one thing I was always thinking, I think once say when Hiranyakashipu came out of the pillar, correct? So if we break this pillar and Hiranyakashipu, I'm saying, Narsinghadev comes out of the pillar, correct? And if you break this pillar and if Narsinghadev comes out, are we ready? Ito Narsingho, Parato Narsingho. We say, Yato Yami Tato Narsingho. He is everywhere. So we have to get ready for that. On the basis of all the Upanishads, Srila Jiva Goswami says that Omkara is the supreme absolute truth and is accepted as such by all the acharyas and authorities. Omkara is beginningless, changeless, supreme and free from deterioration and external contamination. Omkara is the origin, middle and end of everything, and any living entity who thus understands Omkara attains the perfection of spiritual identity in Omkara. Omkara being situated in everyone's heart is Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 18.61. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriday deshe arjuna tishtati. Omkara is as good as Vishnu, because Omkara is as all-pervasive as Vishnu. One who knows Omkara and Lord Vishnu to be identical no longer has to lament or hanker. Okay, so this itself is the best thing we can take out of the class, correct? One who knows Omkara and Lord Vishnu to be identical no longer has to lament or hanker. Okay, so Omkara and Vishnu are same, yes. One who chants Omkara no longer remains a Shudra, but immediately comes to the position of a Brahmana. Congratulations to all of you. Simply by chanting Omkara, one can understand the whole creation to be one unit, or an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavan, Ivetaro yato jagat sthana, nirodha sambhava. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, He is Himself this cosmos, and still He is aloof from it. From Him only the cosmic manifestation has emanated. In Him it rests, and unto Him it enters after annihilation. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.20. Although one who does not understand concludes otherwise, Srimad Bhagavatam states that the entire cosmic manifestation is but an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Realization of this is possible simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord Omkara. One should not, however, foolishly conclude that because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is omnipotent, we have manufactured a combination of letters A, U and Ma to represent Him. Factually, the transcendental sound Omkara, although a combination of the three letters A, U and Ma, has transcendental potency, and one who chants Omkara will very soon realize Omkara and Lord Vishnu to be non-different. Krishna declares, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, Bhagavad Gita 7.8. One should therefore conclude that among the many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Omkara is a sound incarnation. All the Vedas accept this thesis. One should always remember that the holy name of the Lord and the Lord Himself are always identical. Abhinnatavam nama namino. Since Omkara is the basic principle of all Vedic knowledge, it is uttered before one begins to chant any Vedic hymn. You can observe any time when you're doing Brahma Samhita also, Om Ishwar Parama Krishna. Any time when you do, we invoke using Om. Without Omkar, no Vedic mantra is successful. The Goswamis therefore declared that Pranava Omkara is the complete representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they have analyzed Omkar in terms of its alphabetical constituents as follows. Akarenochyate Krishna sarva lokeka nayaka karenochyate Radha ma karo jiva vachaka. Oh my God, I think I never realized this. I read, probably I didn't. Omkar, see, this is very, very important. Omkar is the combination of the letters A, U and Ma, Akarenochyate Krishna. The letter A, Akar, refers to Krishna, who is Sarva Lokeka Nayaka, the master of all living entities and planets. Krishna confirms that in one of the slokas of Bhagavad Gita also. All living entities and planets, material and spiritual. Nayaka means leader. He is the supreme leader. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetanam. The letter U, Ukara, indicates Srimati Radharani. Wow. Did you knew that? U represents Radharani. A represents Krishna. Wow. The pleasure potency of Krishna. And Ma Kara, indicates the living entities, jivas, like us. Thus, Om is the complete combination of Krishna, his potency, and his eternal servitors. In other words, Omkara represents Krishna, his name, fame, pastimes, entourage, expansions, devotees, potencies, and everything else pertaining to him. Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki jai. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadev ki jai. As Caitanya Mahaprabhu states in the present verse of Shri Caitanya Caritamrta, Sarva Visha Dhama, Omkara is a resting place of everything, just as Krishna is a resting place of everything. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Correct. The Mayavadi philosophers consider many Vedic mantras to be the Mahavakya or principal Vedic mantra, such as Tattvam Asi, Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.7, Idam Sarvam Yad Ayam Atma, and Brahmedam Sarvam Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 2.5.1. Atme Vedam Sarvam Chandogya Upanishad 7.25.2 and Neha Nanasati Kinchana Katha Upanishad 2.1.11. That is a great mistake. Only Omkara is the Mahavakya. All other mantras that the Mayavadis accept as the Mahavakya are only incidental. They cannot be taken as a Mahavakya or Mahamantra. The mantra Tattvam Asi indicates only a partial understanding of the Vedas, unlike Omkara, which represents the full understanding of the Vedas. Therefore, the transcendental sound that includes all Vedic knowledge is Omkara, Pranava. Aside from Omkara, none of the words uttered by the followers of Shankaracharya can be considered the Mahavakya. They are merely passing remarks. Shankaracharya, however, has never stressed chanting of the Mahavakya Omkara. He has accepted only Tattvam Asi as the Mahavakya, imagining the living entity to be God. He has misrepresented all the mantras of the Vedanta Sutra with the motive of proving that there is no separate existence of the living entities and the supreme absolute truth. It's like the unification, you and supreme is one and the same, and you merge in that. This is similar to the politicians' attempt to prove non-violence from the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is violent to demons, and to attempt to prove that Krishna is non-violent is ultimately to deny Krishna. Some people during Prabhupada's time, I'll not name, they used to say Bhagavad Gita, ahimsa, and all. And, how can you have ahimsa when the whole literature is at a battlefield, correct? And Krishna is saying you have to fight. They used to give the example of satyagraha and non-violence using this, which is a complete fraud. And he's a big personality in India. As such, explanations of the Bhagavad Gita are absurd, so also is the Shankaracharya explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. And no sane and reasonable man will accept it. At present, however, the Vedanta Sutra is misrepresented and only by the so-called Vedantists, but also by other unscrupulous persons who are so degraded that they even recommend that sannyasis eat meat, fish and eggs. This is there from Ramakrishna, there's some that they eat all the non-vegetarian. In this way, the so-called followers of Shankara, the impersonate Mayavadis, are sinking lower and lower. How can these degraded men explain the Vedanta Sutra, which is the essence of all Vedic literature? Prabhupada's intention here is to enable ourselves, correct, to the right information. There are a lot of irregularities which is around, correct? And people who have a sound mind, an intelligent mind, they are there to know more. These are like jewels. You can understand and then rationally think. Don't accept even what Prabhupada is saying. Say, for example, without until unless you have done your research. Correct? And it's a very good way of trusting on Srila Prabhupada's book, understanding what is coming in this, and then taking your, once you harmonize all those things. These facts are given not to entice you. These facts are given to make you think as to what is right. And for that, we are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has declared, Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoya Sarvanash. Anyone who hears commentary on the Vedanta Sutra from the Mayavad school is completely doomed. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Vedescha sarve aham eva vedya. All Vedic literature aim at understanding Krishna. Mayavad philosophy, however, has deviated everyone from Krishna. Therefore, there is a great need for the Krishna conscious movement all over the world to save the world from degradation. Every intelligent and sane man must abandon the philosophical explanation of the Mayavadis and accept the explanation of Vaishnava Acharyas. One should read Bhagavad Gita as it is to try to understand the real purpose of the Vedas, so that we can give everybody chance. Is it okay that we can read translation, one translation by each of us? Prabhu, is that okay? So 129, can you please read the translation? Yeah. If there are questions, we can do. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Before going into the next one.
Yes.
So in your earlier purport, right? So one, it says, I forgot to. So no, this Shankaracharya's,
yes.
Saundarya Lahari, when they were like breaking down the meaning of the words.
Yes.
So they say that Omkara is nothing but like Ishvara, and it's nothing but the Lord Shiva, potency. That's the potency that resides in individual, body, right? But in this purport, I see Omkara is nothing but Lord Vishnu. So in other words, like, can we say both side by side? Omkara is Vishnu, is Lord Shiva, same?
So see, and that is where Prabhupada is trying to say that, he created all these problems. So what, Shankaracharya said, Shripad Shankaracharya said that the Lord, first of all he said that, we as souls, after when we pass away, we merge with the Lord, correct? So the Lord will change. So there are so many problems in the whole Mayavad Shankaracharya philosophy. He says that Krishna is born like you and me. And we all know that Krishna appeared, not from the womb of Devaki, but he came with his four-hand Narayan form and he transformed himself. So there are a lot of word jugglery. So that is why Shankaracharya, basically his aim was to confuse people at that point. He is actually an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And it was the instruction given to him to create an interpretation so that people can stay in this Devi Dham for longer. They get confused. They become atheistic. And then people stop, following Lord Vishnu. And then they start thinking into, so if you read chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very clearly saying that what you get if you are worshipping demigod compared to what you are worshipping Krishna, correct? Step by step, he has given a whole process. And Shankaracharya actually created he confused people. So you are right. Instead of Ma as Krishna, Radha and the living souls, he started giving his own interpretation. He said, the individuality of yours, Krishna. So very clearly Krishna is saying 2-3 times in Bhagavad Gita, saying that, Arjuna, you don't remember about your past, present. I was there in the beginning, I am here and I'll be there in the future. You will be also, you were there in the past, you will be there, and you will be there also in the future. So Krishna is already saying that in chapter 2, that all these assembled warriors will be there. They will not annihilate. And if you look at Mayavad philosophy, what they say is, with the end of body, you merge with the Lord. So that is all, wrong, correct? And those are the kind of things. And then basically people stop worshipping Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You get into, instead of Om, he was trying to, promote other mantras, which are just appendix or partial things, correct? So even on Om, they were not propagating it nicely. So that is why, if you get in touch with a Mayavad philosophy, Shankaracharya's philosophy is called Mayavad philosophy, then the love of devotion doesn't sprouts, because you are always thinking that I and Krishna are the same, which is completely wrong. The position of Krishna is much ahead than us. Yes, we can get certain proportion of those qualities of Krishna, but our position will be always servant to Krishna. And that is our constitutional position. If we accept that fact, that we are at a lower level, and it is like the polarity of a magnet, if we align ourselves with the right polarity of Krishna consciousness, then we are aligned, we are charged up, and we progress one step then the other. But if we start showing repulsion from Krishna, if our polarity is reversed, we will be repelled from Krishna. We'll do everything which he tells us to do, we'll actually do it differently. See, now look at it. Why do Krishna comes? Why do Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes? They can, Krishna is living in his Golok Vrindavan. Only reason he is coming again and again and again and again. Look at, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, how many avatars of Krishna are there? He is like a parent who is watching, beta, did you do your homework? After 10 minutes again, beta, did you do your homework? Can I help you with certain things? And the kid is busy playing probably video game or something. Again Krishna comes after 30 minutes. Beta, have you done your homework? You will suffer if you do not do your homework. That's exactly Krishna is. Sometimes he comes as Vaman Dev. Sometimes he comes as Lord Ramachandra. Sometimes he comes as Parashuram. Sometimes he is coming as Krishna himself. Sometimes he is coming. So he is coming one after the other as different incarnations. One is Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glani Bhavati Bharata. Correct? That whenever there is irreligion, he'll come to annihilate miscreants. Then he also says that, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashayata dushkrita. So he is also coming primarily to take the devotees back. Hey, I am here. Now if you analyze current age where we are living, it's actually called the golden age of Kali Yuga. Total 432,000 of solar years will be there in Kali Yuga. Out of that, 5,000 years have passed. And last 500 years is the golden age which has started. So it will be there in another 9,500 years. It is like an elevator to direct Godhead. This Mahamantra is like an elevator. You have to just sit there and chant, and you will be taken across. When you chant and dance, it's so powerful. Then what Dhruva Maharaj probably would have done the big sacrifice, standing on one leg, arms raised upward, not eating, taking breath like once in 3 months, 6 months, all that we have read in Srimad Bhagavatam, correct? All that potencies or benefits you can get by just few pronunciations of Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada, that's why I say, what is the difficulty? We are so fallen that when everything is given, it's like Prabhupada has everything ready and please take it. It's good for you. It's a medicine. And we have this avidya, disease of jaundice, that we are not able to take it. And these are actually very special days. That's why when we are saying this, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we read Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara. Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu came to take care of the most fallen souls. And in the whole period, Gauranga Mahaprabhu didn't kill anybody. That was the first avatara where Krishna didn't kill anybody. And just he gave mercy, 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 mercy. So that's why when you see the mercy comes from sequence. So Advaita Gosai, we say Tava Kripa Balapai, Shri Chaitanya Nitai. Once we get mercy of Lord Advaita Acharya, then we approach Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We get the credits to approach them. Then we go to Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda say, he is ready. And Krishna and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, come, bless. And you are done for your life, So it's a very simple process and a whole structure is given. So you cannot get blessings of mercy of Lord Gauranga without being referred by Lord Nityananda. These are the basic tenets which we have to put together into our spiritual life. And it's very simple and clear. These are like sutras. Do this, do this, do this. Chant 16 rounds minimum. Follow 4 regulative principles. Eat prasadam. Tuck, 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 tuck. Everything is very simple, my dear friends. And it is up to us. And it will improve by slow degree. It is completely, and Krishna also has said, in Brahma Samhita also, we have seen slowly, we'll progress. So, we may start with, everybody has, say for example, in the beginning, effect of gunas, correct? Mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. As you come in touch with devotees, you will start realizing that in the beginning, more and more rajas or tamas was there, sattva was less. And when you start progressing, you will observe for yourselves as well as others will observe that the mode for goodness keeps on growing and mode of tamas and rajas starts decreasing. But you have to get even above the modes of these 3 modes. And then when you set yourself as transcendental platform, where you start doing everything, but you have consciousness of doing it as a servant to Krishna. So Arjuna is fighting, but Arjuna is fighting in the spirit of service to Krishna. We are coming here in the spirit of listening this literature, listening Krishna Katha, because it is pleasing to Acharyas. And that's the instruction from them. If Acharyas are pleased, then Krishna is pleased. Correct? We say in Guru Ashtakam in the morning, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Saste, Uktas Tatha Bhavyata Eva Sadvi. Correct? And we have if we please our spiritual masters or Acharyas, things will get... So that's the whole progression. And to your point of coming back to the main thing of what the interpretation of Shankaracharya, that's what we are trying to prove, that his interpretations is faulty. And we have to be completely close our ears if some... in fact, out of the different sampradaya, the Shri Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya and all, we are very tolerant to actually Mayavadi. Ramanujacharya said that, I will rather, if I am in a, there is a threat to his life, and there is a mutt of Shankaracharya, etc., he will rather die on the road rather than getting to take shelter. They are so, they just, they are so angry at them for deluding the people. Because think of it, it's like some people, for the name of religion, are trying to persuade others for wrong things, which is actually not Shastric. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has spent so much of time on explaining, word by word as to why we should be away from that. Yes, Prabhuji? Storm Prabhu? You need a mic, actually.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Welcome, Storm Prabhu. Let's give a big round of welcome to Storm Prabhu and his team. Haribol. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I was
Krishna.
just wondering if you could just maybe sum up really quick
Ah.
the importance of parampara. Like, what is the parampara? Why does it have to? Why does one have to sort of approach, a spiritual master in order to make advancement?
I'll first start with a negative statement and then I'll go into the positive aspect. Correct? Suppose you are sick. Correct? Suppose there is, you are feeling uneasy. We get a heart problem. Correct? And you know your friend who is a very big heart surgeon. Okay? And that heart surgeon is not at his house, but his son is there. Correct? Will you ask that son to treat your problem of heart disease? No, correct? Because you know that that son may not be a doctor. His father is a doctor, but he is not a doctor. Correct? So though he came from the doctor's family, but you will not trust your body. I'm talking about a very mundane level, correct? You will not trust that doctor's son to take care of your health, correct? Because you discriminate saying that this guy may not know everything, correct? And what you try to do is you will try to approach a doctor who has been certified. At least you will look for what is the school he has gone through, how many years he has been, what are the hospitals he is affiliated with, correct? You will do all those checks in the background, and then you will go and do a co-payment, correct? And then you will feel comfortable. If you see the titles, the credentials, the number of years, automatically in your subconscious will, oh, I think this guy will take care of me, correct? At a very, very mundane aspect, I'm saying. So, this fact was actually, this was a problem actually during Caitanya Mahaprabhu's time, that people started thinking that if you are born in a Brahmana family, then the son of a Brahmana will also be Brahmana. They will wear all these threads and all. But they may not be achar in the behavior and all, having qualities of a Brahmana. And this kind of caste and things was very prominent. And it was actually forecasted as the Kali Yuga will start. Such kinds of varna problems will come up. Okay. There is a need to curb that through a right level of parampara, in which a master, upon testing the disciple, then gives the right level of information to the disciple, and then the disciple in turns passes on that right information without altering anything to the next level. And this is how the information gets passed from the superior to the next generation. The next generation then, with his studies and other things, becomes superior, passes on to the next generation. So if the same amount of information without getting change is getting passed on, then there is a chance that the information which the first generation gave is still the same even after 20, 25, 30, 32 generations later. Think of it, in India, in Bengali actually, they said that in our house, curd is being made from last 400 years. For making a curd, you need to have some part of the curd, and if you put it into the milk get transformed into the curd. Correct? So you need that level. I'm just little digressing, but where I'm saying is that amount, that continuity has to be there to create, and that's the parampara you can call it. This you add little, then this whole curd gets into larger stuff. Then you take this small curd and put into a big pot. Tomorrow this will take it and then move it. So anything which is coming like this has to be in a form of a disciplic succession. And you have to see from where the information came. So when we look into what our sampradaya is, we are called Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Parampara. And you can actually trace back. So what we have a full, if you go to Bhagavad Gita, and just before the first chapter, you have the whole lineage of how this information which Srila Prabhupada has given has come to us. So the first, this language, this was Bhagavad Gita, was, say for example, spoken, or the science of self-realization was given to Brahma by Lord Krishna himself. Okay? And we read that also in Brahma Samhita. And then Lord Brahma gave this information to Narad. Then Narad gave it to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva gave it to Madhvacharya. So similarly, you can trace how this information is coming all the way down to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, then to Srila Prabhupada. So if you'll see that lineage will be having certain aspects, and then you may not have all, and then there is another lineage which is set. So say for example from Madhvacharya, then you have all the lineage, and then Madhvendra Puri, that's where when the Gaudiya belt started actually, and then Madhvendra Puri will have disciples, Ishwar Puri, then you will have Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also part of our disciplic succession. Then Rupa Goswami, and we ourselves are called Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. And from Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, we have this whole lineage, all the way Narottam Das Thakur, etc. way. So then if this very clear lineage is there, the Acharyas have tried to preserve what Krishna have told to Brahma. Brahma have tried to preserve what he got and gave it to Narad. Narad preserved it and gave it to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has compiled books so that nothing is lost. Then from Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya understood that, so Madhvacharya went to the Himalayas and get the meanings from Vyasadeva, and then again the disciplic succession continued. And when Srila Prabhupada came over 50 years back, correct? Then at that time, that's why this Bhagavad Gita as it is and all is there, because again what Krishna did to Arjuna, because the parampara was broken at that time. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada through his books actually re-establish the as it is information through his books and literature. So that's a big contribution of Srila Prabhupada, that all this jugglery of words by Mayavadi, etc., which are the problems which were existing. Srila Prabhupada has tried to again dissect those and give us a right ray of light as to, this is how we should actually proceed forward. So knowing, say for example, and then if you have to look into, say, Shankara, correct? We should ask, okay, if we go all the way to Shankaracharya, now we should ask, who did Shankaracharya got the information from? Who told him Aham Brahmasmi? Say for example, what he says, correct? Who told him the interpretation of A, U, Ma as, say, Lord Shiva? Let's say for example, correct? And then if we get a convincing answer, then we should discuss that. Otherwise we should just ignore. Correct? So that's the importance of a disciplic succession, where you learn from your superiors, and then whatever they are saying, without changing, you pass it on to the next generation. And this way you preserve the entire knowledge without mental concoctions or your adulterating. And that is how the potency stays. Bhagavad Gita stays because it has not been mutated. Correct? And you can feel it. Does that answers part of your question, Prabhu?
Yes, it does. So that means by reading Srimad Bhagavatam or
Bhagavad Gita
as it is,
Sri Caitanya Caritamrta,
disciplic succession.
Yes.
You actually get, Krishna's association, or
yes.
you get.
So by doing that, say for example, when you read Srila Prabhupada's purport, then we try to see how this would have happened, and then you get more inner meanings and what did actually, say one example Prabhupada has said, that suppose Krishna says to Arjuna, so this is again I can give a small anecdote. So in Krishna's, when he says, surrender unto me, correct? Krishna says in 18th chapter, surrender unto me, to Arjuna. And the Mayavadi says that when Krishna is saying surrender unto me, you should surrender to me. That's a complete bogus statement. And the way Srila Prabhupada is saying is, suppose Krishna says, give me a glass of water. How you will decipher it? You will say, Krishna is saying, give him a glass of water. Correct? If I start saying, no, Krishna is saying, you should give a glass of water to me, that is nonsense. That is not disciplic succession. Because you use the words, because the one which was there for Krishna, you altered the meaning of it for your sense gratification. You see the point, Prabhu? So suppose he says, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Please come and surrender only to me. Correct? That me is Krishna. But what they said, there are interpretations. They say, you surrender unto me. Any fool comes and says, you surrender unto me. That is all nonsense. And those are the kind of problems. So when we read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, as you said, or Srimad Bhagavatam, then we see by right disciplic succession, what did actually Krishna wanted to say to Arjuna when he said these words? Or when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand how the devotees are doing question and answers, and what is the spirit of questions and what are the spirit of responses. That will ultimately help all the mankind. And once we start understanding those things, Krishna Katha, why it's Amala Puranam, and then you understand, okay, one is actually glorifying about Krishna, so we know about the activities of Krishna, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is words of Krishna, what Krishna is saying to Arjuna, and that is relevant to us. Through this book, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses that mechanism and the medium to correspond to us into our day-to-day problems of life where we are exposed in. So if you follow that part, you can actually be in touch with Krishna through Srila Prabhupada's purport and translation, because it is connected to the right source. Think of it, Prabhu, so that since the electricity is coming here in this power outlet, correct? It is coming through various routers and various electric poles. The generation is happening at power plant, correct? From there it goes to first power station, from there to the second power station, to the third power station, and finally it has reached in this temple in this outlet, correct? Now what you have to, so this is more like a parampara. And if you get connected into this power socket, you put yourselves in that, then you will have uninterrupted flow of electricity coming to you. Correct? And if if your resistance is low, you get full energy coming from electricity. If you add your own resistance to that, instead of 20 volt, probably you will get 5 volt. So it all depends on the attitude of the receiver, but the potency is all there because it is the same current which is, I'm giving an example for you to correlate. The energy is there and the whole disciplic succession, like all these poles are there from, probably this would have been manufactured in Sacramento. From there it is coming from city A, city B, city C. There are various cities, there are various, small localities, and now it has been available here. And it is for choice whether we put the socket in or we just leave it alone. If you put your socket in, that is, you pick up the Bhagavad Gita, get in touch with association of devotees, spend your time, read it out, you are going to get benefit, you are going to get charged. And the mechanism is so potent that you will get bliss. Even if you don't want, you will get it. It's like if you get close to the fire, you will feel warm, you will feel light. Do you have to try to get warmth if you are near to the fire? Correct? you will get the advantage of being close to the fire. So, if you are in touch with holy name, small, I'll say, observations will come. You don't have to get excited about it. It is like fire. You will get bliss. That is why we are all here. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. And your bliss will keep on increasing. You don't stop there. You be with the flow and let it keep on flowing. That's the way. I gave you a long answer, but I tried to give a different situations.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
We would like to welcome your friend. Can you tell something about him?
Yes, this is my friend George. I met him yesterday at Stanford University while distributing some books, and he looked through the Bhagavad Gita a little bit, and he decided to come today. Check it out.
Wow. Let's give a good welcome to Prabhu for coming to ISV. Haribol. Yeah. Any word of encouragement you want to give us, Prabhu? How do you feel about this center? Did you like it?
It smells really good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Awesome. It is said actually in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, 21st purport, or 19 or 21st, I don't remember, that if you say Hare Krishna, which you said right now, it is so potent that if you start doing wrong things after that time onwards, throughout till the end of your life, the amount of good karma which you got by just saying one time Hare Krishna is so big that it will not be able to offset the amount of sins you can do from now till end of the life. So what if you chant, let's do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you do this more, and with faith, just look at the amount of benefits you can actually get. So I think I'll congratulate you and to Storm Prabhu for who is a good friend of yours. Please keep the friendship, and tomorrow there is a big festival actually, and we have our temple president. His name is Vaisheshika Prabhu. He's one of a very big spiritual masters, and you should definitely try to see if you can come tomorrow and take his association. I strongly recommend that. And if you have some time, you can come in the morning as well as in the afternoon. Storm Prabhu, you can give him the schedule for tomorrow. And it's the most fortunate time actually. The most merciful Lord is coming tomorrow, appearing tomorrow. So definitely Lord has some big plans for you. Welcome. Let's continue on. Sorry for the digression. We'll continue on the reading part. 129. Will someone read it? Yeah, Mataji, why don't you?
It is the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to present Pranav, Omkar, as the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. The words Tattamasi are only a partial explanation of the Vedic knowledge.
You can read that purport also.
Purport is like one line.
Yeah.
Tattamasi means you are the same spiritual identity.
You can give it to Mata. Yeah. Yeah, translation and purport.
Pranava, Omkara is the Maha Vakya, Maha Mantra in the Vedas. Shankaracharya's followers cover this to stress without authority the mantra Tattvam Asi. Purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
The Mayavadi philosophers stress the statements Tattvam Asi, Soham, etc. But they do not stress the real Maha Mantra Pranava Omkara. Therefore, because they misrepresent Vedic knowledge, they are the greatest offenders to the lotus feet of the Lord. Caitanya Mahaprabhu says clearly, Mayavadi Krishne Aparadi. Mayavadi philosophers are the greatest offenders to Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna declares. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among mankind, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Life in demoniac species awaits the Mayavadi philosophers after death because they are envious of Krishna. When Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter 34 verse, man manmanam bhava madbhakto madhyasimam namaskuru. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. One demoniac scholar says that it is not Krishna to whom one must surrender. This scholar is already suffering in this life and he will have to suffer again in the next if in this life he does not complete his prescribed suffering. One should be very careful not to be envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the next verse, therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu clearly states the purport of the Vedas.
See, we just discussed about that, correct? So they have all these stupid interpretations, correct? Yes. Can you use the mic, Mata?
It is said that Mayavadis are like Aparadhis to Krishna because
Yes.
they are envious of Krishna.
That's right.
And we should not read or hear any Mayavadi explanation of the Vedas.
Yes.
So, what should be our attitude towards atheists? Should we be exposed to any atheist literature, or if they try to preach something to us, or should we read any atheist book? What
I
should we
think
do?
what I would say is first of all, we should definitely try to bring them close to Krishna. That is our order from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, correct? We have to ensure the holy name reaches every town and village, correct? So there's a lot of work which needs to be done, correct? A lot of services that needs to be done. Having said that, if you find a favorable Mayavadi who is like a child, doesn't know the exact right things, and you can preach, and that's what Srila Prabhupada has given us, so we know all these things and we are able to have a meaningful discussion. If you get a sense of that person is not going to understand, don't disturb too much. Give them Mahaprasad, so at least so that they don't become more offensive to us, correct? We can give them, engage them in a way, get some flowers from the temple, give them the garland, give them some Mahaprasad, feed them. And if they are not favorable, you don't have to worry about them. Krishna will take care of sooner or later, correct? You can do your part. And sometimes what I have seen is devotees try to prove their point to a large extent that the other guy becomes inimical towards us as well as the movement. And that's not what probably our acharyas wanted. So I think that's a very good question. I would try to see if they are favorable to go from level A to level B and receptive to our teachings, then we'll probably pick up a Bhagavad Gita chapter and read together, correct? And see the comfort that they are not becoming more undisturbed. You have to disturb them, obviously, correct? Because the purports itself are pretty solid, correct? But you have to see that they are still favorable. It is like if you shout at your kid and the kid knows that you are doing good for them, they listen to you. And it helps the kid in the long run. Similarly, you have to see that, we are there to promote them from level A to level B. At least if they are worshipping demigods, it should not be that they stop worshipping demigods also, correct? Because when they are doing demigod, indirectly they are at least worshipping Krishna, correct? So that is how, but prasad is a secret weapon. Give them gifts, and pray to Krishna that, he engaged them in some form or the other. They can give some donations, that's very easy, because then they get some sukriti to get eligible for getting mercy of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So engage them in some form or the other. Don't further aggravate them. Like that's That's how I typically would have done that. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. 120.
So, translation, in all the Vedic sutras and literatures, it is Lord Krishna who is to be understood. But the followers of Shankaracharya have covered the real meaning of the Vedas with indirect explanations.
Very good.
It is said, Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane Bharate Tatha Adav Ante Cha Madhye Cha Harihi Sarvatra Gayate.
Very good.
Sarvatra Giyate.
Giyate.
In the Vedic literature, including the Ramayana, Puranas and Mahabharata, from the very beginning, Adav, to the end, Antecha, as well as within the middle, Madhyecha, only Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is explained.
Wow. We can give it to the next Prabhu. 132. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The self-evident Vedic literatures are the highest evidence of all. But if these literatures are interpreted, their self-evident nature is lost. We quote Vedic evidence to support our statements. But if we misinterpret it according to our own judgment, the authority of the Vedic literature is rendered imperfect or useless. In other words, by interpreting the Vedic version, one minimizes the value of Vedic evidence. When one quotes from Vedic literature, it is understood that the quotations are authoritative. How can one bring the authority under his own control? That is a case of principis obsta.
Principis obsta. Next.
Yeah, Hare
Thank
Krishna. Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, this is Akashvani. Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. My name is Daksha Mataji. I really liked your explanation and your lecture, and when you just said about what Prabhupada wanted to do, this in US and all the Western countries, so all the Mayavadis and atheists, but Prabhupada brought everybody back to the Godhead. So, of course, nobody's pure, in this Kali Yuga. And other point I want to make that originally Shankaracharya, if Shankaracharya wasn't, if he hadn't saved the Vedas from the Buddhism, we wouldn't have Vedas now, right now, because he saved Veda from impersonalism and the Buddhism. People were practicing that, and also he wrote a poem called Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate. So he was pure Krishna's devotee, of course, and he told his mother when she was dying, and he gave the Krishna mantra to his mother.
Correct.
So Shankaracharya was, if we wouldn't have had Veda if it wasn't for him, because he saved Veda. He worked so hard to save Vedas.
Correct. Yeah, so these are all roles, correct? Say, for example, Durga Devi or Vaishno Devi, she is also internal, she is also one of the expansions of Radharani, correct? But her duty is to ensure that we are corrected and then sent to Krishna Loka. So Yamaraj, say for example, is also a servant of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, correct? But the department what Yamaraj has got is little difficult. You think of it in a particular company. Some are good white-collared IT professionals, some are sweepers, some are cooks, some are different roles are there. So, basically Lord Shankaracharya got that role of creating a confusion, and internally he was, you are absolutely right, and I wanted to quote, but for the lack of time, Bhaja Govinda. But see, that is what Mayavadis people don't understand. They are looking into, and that is what he deliberately wanted to confuse, correct? That's the point you are trying to make.
No, maybe I'm not too. I haven't studied that much. But only thing I'm saying, I read in Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. He say, and in other places that he saved Veda from the Buddhism, when the Buddhism was going around, and otherwise we wouldn't have had Vedas. And then also, so he was purely, he gave his mom also. I don't know about maybe the followers who took it that way, just like the followers didn't have process or whatever, and they took it like Mayavada, whatever, spread it a wrong way or whatever. I am not sure. I haven't studied, so I don't know.
Yeah, your understanding is right. The followers didn't got the right message. Yeah, and that is what is main thing to confuse them. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was great. I mean, to save Vedas. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't wouldn't be even talking about Vedas now.
No, a very good point. Yes. At that point of time, that was required, and then he did it.
That point of time.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a right statement. Thank you so much. This was very, very good. Thanks for listening in.
Thank you, Prabhu. I really, this is my first time, and somebody told me to, I just checked online and got this number, and I'm very fortunate, and I will try to do my
Please
best
do
to
that.
listen.
Yeah, we will love to associate with you. Okay, and we are situated at Mountain View, California. So in case you are more than welcome to attend, and then there is a subscription also in the website, so you will get the program details when the next programs are. So tomorrow is actually a big festival. So if you are online from evening, I think 4:30, you will be able to listen to one big spiritual master which we have in our center.
Oh yeah,
okay?
the Vaisheshika Prabhu.
Vaisheshika Prabhu. Yeah, perfect.
I took the shelter of him. I live in San Diego.
Okay, then you are connected with a power socket.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. And I'm going to be at the temple, so tomorrow I don't know whether in the afternoon I'll be going to the temple. So,
okay.
But thank you so much. Very nice, and I'm very fortunate.
Thank you so much. Okay, next, Prabhu.
To prove their philosophy, the members of Mayavada school have given up the real, easily understood meaning of the Vedic literature and introduced indirect meanings based on their imaginative parts. Unfortunately, the Sankarite interpretation has covered almost the entire world. Therefore, there is a great need to present the original, easily understood, natural import of the Vedic literature. We have therefore begun by presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we purpose to present all the Vedic literature in terms of direct meanings of its words.
Perfect. Yes, Prabhu. Text 134.
When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu thus showed for each and every sutra the defects in Shankaracharya's explanations, all the assembled Mayavadi sannyasis were struck with wonder.
Next. Thank you.
All the Mayavadi sannyasis said, "Your Holiness, kindly know from us that we actually have no quarrel with your refutation of these meanings, for you have given a clear understanding of the sutras."
Awesome. Yes, Prabhu.
We know that all this word joggery springs from the imagination of
Shankaracharya.
And yet, because we belong to his sect, we accept it, although it does not satisfy us.
See, the followers are saying, Prabhu, you want to read?
Now let us see, the Mayavadi sannyasi continued, how well you can describe the sutras in terms of their direct meaning. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his direct explanation of the Vedanta Sutra.
Awesome. So now this is, a conversation is going on. Now Mahaprabhu is... Mata, you want to read one? Okay, perfect. We'll continue again. Text 138. Brihad vastu brahma kahi Shri Bhagavan sat Vedeshwarsya Purna Paratattva Dhama. Brahman, who is greater than the greatest, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is full in six opulences and therefore he is reservoir of ultimate truth and absolute knowledge. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the absolute truth is understood in three phases of realization: the impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma are expansions of the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is complete in six opulences, namely wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Since he possesses his six opulences, the personality of Godhead is the ultimate truth in absolute knowledge. Text 139. Sarupa Aishwarya Tanra Nahimaya Gandha Shakala Vedera Haya Bhagavan Se Sambandha. In his original form, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full with transcendental opulences, which are free from the contamination of the material world. It is to be understood that in all Vedic literature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal. So he is giving one after the other explanations, which are the true explanations of the Vedanta Sutras. Tanre nirvishesha kahi chit chakti namani ardha swarupa namani le purnata haya hani. When we speak of the Supreme as impersonal, we deny his spiritual potency. Logically, if you accept half of the truth, you cannot understand the whole. In the Upanishad, it is said, Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. This verse, which is mentioned in the Ishopanishad, Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, and many other Upanishad, indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full in six opulences. His position is unique, for he possesses all riches, strength, influence, beauty, knowledge, and renunciations. Brahman means the greatest, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is greater than the greatest, just as the sun globe is greater than the sunshine, which is all pervading in the universe. Although the sunshine that spreads all over the universe appears very great, to the less knowledgeable, greater than the sunshine is the sun itself, and greater than the sun is the sun God. Similarly, impersonal Brahman is not the greatest, although it appears to be so. Impersonal Brahman is only the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the transcendental form of the Lord is greater than both the impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma. Therefore, whenever the word Brahman is used in the Vedic literature, it is understood to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is also addressed as Para Brahman. Mayavadis and others sometimes misunderstand Brahman because every living entity is also Brahman. Therefore, Krishna is referred to as Para Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. In the Vedic literature, whenever the word Brahman or Para Brahman are used, they are to be understood to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. This is the real meaning, since the entire Vedic literature deals with the subject of Brahman. Krishna is therefore the ultimate goal of Vedic understanding. The impersonal Brahma Jyoti rests on the personal form of the Lord. Therefore, although the impersonal effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti, is the first realization, one must enter into it as mentioned in the Ishopanishad to find the Supreme Person, and then one's knowledge is perfect. Bhagavad Gita 7.19 also confirms this. Bhaunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. One's search for the absolute truth by dint of speculative knowledge is complete when one comes to the point of understanding Krishna and surrenders unto him. That is the real point of perfect knowledge, perfectional knowledge. Partial realization of the absolute truth is impersonal Brahman, denies the complete opulences of the Lord. This is hazardous understanding of the absolute truth. Unless one accepts all the features of the absolute truth, namely impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's knowledge is imperfect. Shripad Ramanujacharya in his Vedartha Sangraha says, Jnanena dharmena swarupam api nirupitam natu jnana matram brahmeti katham idam avagamyate. He thus indicates that the real identity of the absolute truth must be understood in terms of both his knowledge and his characteristics. Simply to understand the absolute truth to be full of knowledge is not sufficient. In the Vedic literature, Mukunda Upanishad 1.1.9, we find the statement, Ya sarva jnana sarva vet, which means that the absolute truth knows everything perfectly. But we also learn from the Vedic description, Parasya Shaktir Vividheva Shruyate, that not only does he knows everything, but he also acts accordingly by utilizing his different energies. Thus, to understand that Brahman, the Supreme, is conscious is not sufficient. One must know how he consciously acts through his different energies. Mayavad philosophy simply informs us of the consciousness of the absolute truth, but that does not give us information of how we act with his consciousness. That is the defect of that philosophy. We are inching towards end of the class, which will be there in next 5 to 6 minutes. And very happy to read more, but stop me if there is any questions or anything, okay? Text 141. It is only by devotional service, beginning with hearing, that one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is only means to approach him. So these are statements from Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu to Mayavadis, okay? Purport, Mayavadi philosophers are satisfied simply to understand Brahman to be the sum total of knowledge, but Vaishnava philosophers not only know in detail about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but also know how to approach him directly. The method for this is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as 9 kinds of devotional service, beginning with hearing, Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vadanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. The 9 kinds of devotional services are hearing about Krishna, chanting about him, remembering him, offering service to his lotus feet, offering him worship in the temple, offering prayers to him, working as his servant, making friendship with him, and unreservedly surrendering to him. One can directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by executing these 9 kinds of devotional service, of which hearing about the Lord is most important. Sharnavadi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very favorably stressed the importance of this process of hearing. According to his method, if people are simply given a chance to hear about Krishna, certainly they will gradually develop that dormant awareness or love of Godhead. Shranvadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaya, Caitanya Caritamrta Madhyalila 22.107. Love of God is dormant in everyone, and if one is given a chance to hear about the Lord, certainly that love develops. Our Krishna consciousness movement acts on this principle. We simply give people the chance to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and give them prasadam to eat. See, Mataji, what you are asking is coming. And the actual result is that all over the world people are responding to this process and becoming pure devotees of Lord Krishna. We have opened 100 of centers all over the world just to give people in general a chance to hear about Krishna and accept Krishna's prasadam. These 2 processes can be accepted by anyone, even a child. It doesn't matter whether one is poor or rich, learned or foolish, black or white, old or still a child. Anyone who simply hears about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and takes prasadam is certainly elevated to the transcendental position of devotional service. So, basically we'll try to stop here. Very, very, very powerful. So, all this jugglery Mayavadi was there, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving them the reference of this 9 process. Starts with hearing, then chanting, kirtan, that is, first you hear, then you tell to others. That is kirtan. And typically when people start on ISKCON, they start very favorably on the first part they hear. Then they are very reluctant in doing the second part, which is kirtan. They will feel, I should not go to Harinam to dance. What if people look at me? They will say, okay, so that is the anarthas and we should slowly get rid of it. And some people even go there And the third is, which is smaran. Now you have all these things in your heart and mind. How do you process this information? Which is very important. So that is why reading all these things, and then you sit down, and then you process all this information. That is when it starts giving you more and more tools of how you will be able to actually convince first yourself and then convince others. Because otherwise, if you do not do that, when you come into a crisis, it will just wash away. So these, smaranam is a very important aspect. And most of us, when we get busy with our services, ignore this aspect of devotional service. And these are the quiet times when you are communicating with yourself and thinking on you are playing at your level, and then you're harmonizing certain things. Hey, oh, my mother died. Oh, Atma is never lost, it is unchangeable. She got newer body. Okay, so you convince yourself, you move to the next level. Correct? Oh, this guy was mean on me. Okay, what is it? I should focus on me. Why should I, change my... So these are the harmonizing things which we are doing. So take some time in doing smaranam. And then becomes engagement, basically, on the service. Like Krishna consciousness is activity. So Prabhupada used to say, don't sit idle, do something. Do something for Krishna. He never proposed. Even Krishna doesn't even say that. He says, work in devotion is always better than, perfect renunciation, where you leave everything, sit somewhere, and then you are tuck, sitting and doing nothing, correct? So Srila Prabhupada always wanted us to be active in devotional services. So, and the next processes which are there, which was, offering service to him, correct? To his lotus feet. So when you do Dandavat Pranams, when you pray, you are doing that. Offering worship in the temple. So when you sing, say prayers and all, you are doing that, correct? Working as a servant. So say for example, all the devotees were here, they were setting like garlands, some are cleaning, some are cooking, all these great services which is happening, you are actually dedicating yourself to Krishna, making friendship with him, then slowly you start having relationship with Krishna or Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and then you surrender. And it is very close even with, say, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It starts with Yam Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and then Ishwar Pranidhan. At the end is the goal is there, correct? So then we surrender completely, and that is actually the state which we are aspiring for. And these are the 9 steps by which we progressively go forward. And it is said that you can even pick one of the items and you will get the full result. Say for example, Parikshit Maharaj was just listening. Through Shravan, he got, he went to Godhead. Suta Goswami, Sukdev Goswami, just by Kirtan, they just keep on speaking and they got the liberation. Correct? So you can have different Mahajans. Each of the process in itself is very potent. And we request you to please read all this literature. Be in touch with the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I am hoping that the altar will be open in some time. Will the altar be open, Prabhu? Or we can continue reading? And then if the altar opens, then we will have the Gaura Puja, Gaura Arti. And there we will do Kirtan, nice Kirtans, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And then after that, we have prasad also for you. So whatever Prabhupada said, it's all there. And just by eating prasadam, your devotional life blossoms. So it's like very, very engaging. So Mayavadi says that, get into a void. You don't think. You don't do. But Srila Prabhupada has created say for example, our Acharyas has given a different tone to that, saying that, you get attached with Krishna, with Gauranga Mahaprabhu, correct? You eat prasad. I will offer it to Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He will like it. And then I will take the reminiscences of it. To my heart content. It's completely allowed. Correct? I will dress for Krishna. So I will dance for Krishna. It's not that you cannot do. I will sing for Krishna. So now we will quickly, remove the asanas. Get ready for glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? Thank you very much for everyone who joined in. Hare Krishna.